Today marks 23 years since radical Islamic terrorists murdered nearly 3,000 Americans on September 11th. The Americans we lost on 9/11 were mothers and fathers, wives and husbands, daughters and sons. Many were heroes who risked their lives to save others. Each year on Patriots' Day, we recommit as a nation to honoring their memories. It is also a sobering reminder of the dangers Americans continue to face at home and around the world. In the past year, we've been reminded of that all too many times. Hamas's October 7th attack on Israel killed 1,195 innocent women and men, including over 40 Americans. Hamas also took over 200 people hostage. 11 months later, at least 97 people, including 7 Americans, have yet to be returned. We fear many of them have already been killed. Sadly, those who wish to do us harm aren't just overseas. When asked last year about the terrorist threats facing us at home, the FBI director said, quote, "I see blinking lights everywhere." The Biden-Harris administration's open borders policy and appeasement-first approach to foreign policy has left us less safe. Last fiscal year, there were 169 encounters with individuals on the terrorist watch list at the southern border between ports of entry. Under President Trump, that annual number was repeatedly in the single digits. While these individuals were not granted entry, we've repeatedly seen others with ties to radical terror groups slip through the cracks. Last year, a man on the terrorist watch list from Afghanistan was released by Border Patrol after crossing our border illegally. After spending nearly a year roaming around the U.S. freely, he was arrested this past April. He was released again after the Biden-Harris administration failed to tell the judge in his case about his ties to terrorism. And then only to be arrested 24 hours later when media reported about his second release. The incompetence doesn't end there. In June of this year, 8 foreign nationals with ties to ISIS were arrested because of concerns they were plotting a terrorist attack on U.S. soil. The men from Tajikistan illegally crossed our southern border, then applied for asylum. Under the Biden-Harris administration's abuse of parole, they were released into the U.S. The federal government's most fundamental responsibility is to keep the American people safe. Instead, we've seen 3 years of open border policies and an appeasement-first foreign policy that has created a national security catastrophe at our southern border and emboldened our adversaries around the world. Today, we must recommit to do better. The federal government needs leaders that will keep Americans safe.